Welcome to Board Game Archaeologists. We play time-worn games from the past. I'm Hunter.
I'm Rob.
And today we're looking at lawn darts.
Lawn darts, otherwise known as jarts. It's been made by multiple different companies. Hasbro, this is from Regent. Before 1989, and you can tell because of the style, and Hunter will get to that in a second. We don't know when they originally were created. They could have been created way back in ancient time, and this game just kind of followed through. A lot like darts and horseshoe, and like Hunter said, cornhole.
Yeah, and the goal of the game is to get as many points over the opponent team, and that's by throwing the darts into a hoop. How much rules really kind of depend on the people, because there's the foundational way to play, which we'll kind of show you here in a little bit, which is you just got to make it into the single hoop. There's no like bullseye or anything like that. But once you can more consistently do that, the rules will get more advanced.
Yeah, and the game really only comes with what you see here. 2 hoops for each other's target, and we each get 2 jarts each.
And you won't find jarts like this anymore because in 1970 they started having explicit warnings all over the box, and that's kind of how we know where this one is from. It has a lot of explanation and instruction. And starting in 88, December of 88 in America, and 89 in Canada, these things were unsellable, prohibited to be sold.
Yeah, they do still make them, but they make them with blunter objects at the end, so they land safer. These, as you'll see in a second, are sharp-pointed metal parts.
But here, we'll show you kind of what we mean. Well, here's kind of how the game looks fundamentally. So you've got your lawn dart, and you want to hold it from the back, and you always want to underhand.
Yep, it's in the rules to underhand. It's safer and it lobs it down.
And as you'll see, the hoop is out 35 feet from where we are here. He's going to make the shot, and it got close. Typically, I would be throwing along with him, and that's kind of how the scoring would go. So people are only on one side of the hoop at a time.
Yep, and this is one of those defense-offensive things. So if you score and the other person scores, it blanks out the score. So if you get in the circle, you get 1 point. If you get 2 in the circle, you get 2 points. If your opponent doesn't get any in the circle, you get to keep them. Otherwise, you just minimize them. The rules on the box are for like a game called Handily, or something like that.
The Handily rules.
The Handily rules, but this box also has its own rules. And those rules are basically, you get 1 point for each lawn dart nearest to the target ring than opponents, 2 points for lawn darts in a target, 3 points, 2 lawn darts in a target and opponent has 1 in target, 4 points for 1 lawn dart in target and second lawn dart closest to the target, 6 points for 2 lawn darts in target and opponent having none. Now, all of that said, this is a super simple game, and I don't know why you'd want to make it a lot harder when you could simply play it as is.
Yeah, the foundational way to play it is just you land in the hoop, it's a point. If your opponents have them, it can deduct off of that. However, once you can consistently maybe get into the hoop, I think there are easier ways to play than that. The Handily rules are kind of an example of this, like one version of them anyway. Some people will put a smaller bullseye target in the center of their ring to make something so it is more approximating cornhole, where there's a single point for the board and more points for a circle.
Yeah, like darts too.
Yeah, so they add a little extra layer of challenge there. And alternatively, another thing that I've heard a lot is the proximity to the center idea, where, if you land in the hoop and your opponent does too, it's not immediately a one-on-one kind of situation. There are better and worse throws. So if you're closer to the center, you get the point.
So there's a million different kind of ways you can play it. The rules, being one-on-one, is simply a guide to start off. Almost every game we've played, I think, on Board Game Archaeology, we've said, change the rules if you feel that it's going to be more fun that way. And jarts is one of those rules. And for heaven's sakes, be safe around kids with this and don't do anything silly. I know when we were young, we used to take them 50 yards apart and overhand these things and whip them. And I can see where they'd be dangerous, especially to a bunch of younger boys that want to whip something and hurt something. So we can't stress it enough. These are not made anymore. You could probably find them at thrift sales or things like that, but you're not going to find them for sale on Amazon, except for the blunt tip ones. So safety first.
Yeah, and as it kind of goes into my pros for the game is that I think it's just very flexible. And ever since, I think it was in 2020 that they started mass producing them, but the blunt tip ones are a lot safer. I imagine that, you know, you probably don't want to still hit your buddies with it,
You're still
but
going to get blunt trauma with it. So
but it's a little bit better. So
yeah, and it's just a tried and true game. I mean, we played it a lot when we were kids, and we didn't hurt ourselves with it. We hurt ourselves more with darts and BB guns. But you know, it is a game is what it is, and it can be dangerous, and it can't. I'm glad I got this copy. I got this from my buddy Andrew Ritchie. He's a comic artist and a good friend, and he gave me this a long time ago. So I'm glad we got to pull it out and play it.
but if you guys find any like that out there, be responsible, and don't be buying and selling it. That's not okay. But thanks for watching.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about us, check us out at toyarchaeology.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.